Yikes. Talk about some bad blood, emotions running high as an open Liberal nomination in Ottawa, Orleans erupts into a fight. Police had to be called in, but despite the drama, former Canadian General Andrew Leslie, another Trudeau star candidate, well, he has successfully taken the nomination and will carry the Liberal banner in the next federal election. Let's bring in Sara MacIntyre and Ray Hurd to talk about a headline that I don't know if it actually is getting some attention over the weekend, and it should, because it got really ugly.
Yeah, it actually got violent. People were throwing fists, and this is generally, these things are kind of snoozers. It's inside politics. It's the people that are part of the political brass that are there, and that's basically it. And he was acclaimed, so it wasn't actually a contest. He was acclaimed for this nomination meeting because the headquarters of the Liberal Party had kiboshed David Birchie, who was the Liberal candidate actually in the last election.
Who did quite well.
Who did very well. It's a very competitive riding for the Liberals, and that's why they have Andrew Leslie running.
This to me would be very embarrassing.
They also had to call out the fire department, so you have the police and the fire department. But the key thing is Birchie, who ran for leader, has said he may run as an independent. I hope he does. If he does, that seat will remain a Tory seat. But what we're all neglecting here is that as Justin Trudeau purges people, Leslie is unqualified to be a Liberal for two reasons. He gave false testimony to a war crimes trial when he was a colonel, A, and B, he demonized the democratic state of Israel by saying they deliberately targeted women and children. He doesn't belong to my Liberal Party.
Well, he also came under fire because he does not live actually in Orleans. He lives, I think, 3 kilometers out, and his moving expenses became a bit of an issue because I think up to $60,000 was paid for him to move a couple of blocks. Nonetheless, I mean, what I think should not be getting attention is all this unrest behind the scenes. I mean, there were people there ripping up their Liberal membership. Now, is that theater, or has this actually created a divide behind the scenes?
Well, I think it's really only important in Ottawa, Orleans. This won't have like national implications for the Liberal Party. Again, it's showing a trend that Justin Trudeau, although he says he's for open nominations, has no problem interfering. But what it will impact is their get out the vote in 2015.
But not just in Orleans.
It's very close. It's very close, this riding. And so they need every single vote to go towards them in order to take that from Royal Gallipo, who's had the seat since 2006. So if it means a few people are sitting at home or a few people just are actually voting Conservative, that could make a difference between whether or not Andrew Leslie gets that seat.
Because this is like the fifth or
this
is the fifth or the sixth time that this has happened, where someone has been punted out who actually had spent a lot of time gearing up for the nomination and was told it was going to be an open nomination. I think Christine Innes.
Birchie was told at first that they green-lighted him, then they found an excuse to purge him, phony excuses, by the way. So this is the 5th case I know of. There will be more. And the irony is, as you remember, when Justin won the election, he promised us it would be an open democratic process of choosing candidates. It's nothing of the sort.
Right, and so we know he has several star candidates, Chrystia Freeland, Adam Vaughan. These people are being parachuted in. My question would be then, you know, Orleans, downtown Toronto, if it's spread out, do you get the sense that party-wide this could become a problem for him, of disgruntled people within the party that will act out? No,
I don't. I mean, I think that people actually, and you know, I was a party member and staffer for a while, and people have no problem with the leader being a leader and choosing their team,
even if it goes against a promise.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where he stepped in, and he should never even made that promise. I mean, he tried to be the change candidate. I'm going to do things different, hope and change, love and teddy bears and all that kind of thing. I'm going to do things differently, and you simply can't run a national party in Canada in a parliamentary system and have open nominations.
And I worked for a former Prime Minister, leader of the opposition. He didn't dare do that. He said, I have the right as the leader to choose some candidates. But Justin said the opposite. Justin said the opposite. The problem is Justin broke his word, period. Justin never should have made that facile promise to the party, which he's broken at least 5 times now.
Yeah, but I think people, they see him as the great white light, the Messiah. He's come to save the Liberal Party. It's doing better than it hasn't been performing this well since under Chrétien days. So they're willing to say, okay, they're willing to forgo a broken promise if they actually can see that there's a possibility that they might get power.
I think we've got to understand, Justin has dropped 10 points in the polls since he refused to support the war against ISIS. That is his mistake. He's dropping. Harper's up 4 points. Justin is down 6 points. When you ask Canadians, who do you prefer as Prime Minister? So Justin, in my humble judgment, and I'm still a libertarian liberal, Justin is plummeting since September because of his failure to be patriotic and support a necessary war.
Well, nonetheless, I mean, he has been quieter in the last month. That I'm thinking is being done intentionally. But on Friday, we learned that the Liberals have retained human rights lawyer Cynthia Peterson, and she will be investigating this harassment allegations made by to both Scott Andrews and MP Massimo Pichetti. This is not one of those things that Mr. Trudeau can simply sweep under the carpet. But this is a very political move for him.
It is, but I mean, I think he really, to be fair to Justin, he had no choice except to have some type of discipline for these members in the time that these accusations were made. Remember, this is like Jian Ghomeshi.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, because since we've talked about this, and I know that was your opinion, you know, from a couple of weeks back, since hearing her account, she seems to be speaking on behalf of both of these NDP MPs. To me, it doesn't exactly sound like harassment. It sounds like maybe she had sex and didn't really feel the same way. I mean, the facts of this do not sound maybe as salacious as we were led to believe. And so do you get the sense now that maybe Mr. Trudeau rushed on this thing?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he wasn't going to be in a position where he could disclose those details. But there was allegations made, and it was an expectation as a leader of the party that was informed about this, that he had taken some type of recourse. I think that the appropriate thing to do is to have an independent investigation, and that will clear his members, and he'll welcome them back with open arms. But yeah, I mean,
well, if that happens, firstly, Mulcair is never going to allow his two MPs to testify before a body or an investigator appointed by Justin Trudeau.
Well, he couldn't stop one of them from talking to all the media, and that the damage to me,
take my word for it, they will not go before this investigator. A. B. Justin should have waited for the Speaker of the House of Commons, who is a non-partisan officer, to appoint his own inquiry, which I understand he was doing. So Justin has jumped the gun, and as Craig Oliver said on CTV last night, Justin is trying to dig his way out of a hole he dug for himself here. He should have waited for the Speaker to rule on the process, which would be accepted, I hope,
it's a risk,
by the NDP.
Because when the accusations came against Senator Colin Kenny and it was found out that he waited, then I agree with Sarah on some parts of this. I just get the sense that the narrative of the complaint is not exactly how we were led to believe.
Except Kenny belonged to his party. These two belong to the opposition party, the NDP. They don't belong to Justin's party. Mulcair is their leader, and he will dictate what they do and don't do, which will be to respect their wishes. And they don't want to go before any star chamber appointed by Justin Trudeau.
But again, one of them did go to any media that would listen, and that to me is more problematic, because then you're trying this case in the court of public opinion, and these MPs have not had an opportunity to defend themselves.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why you have a right to face your accuser.
Exactly.
And I think these two gentlemen, I think Justin Trudeau will come out of this actually quite fine. I think that people will say, okay, you know what, there was accusations made, they were cleared, they're welcome back into the Liberal Party, and it actually makes the NDP look very futile and immature, and these two women in particular making hay and perhaps making light of an issue that shouldn't have been brought to light in the first place.
You don't get the sense that either of these MPs who have been accused might look at him and say, hey, look, our reputations are destroyed, and you didn't stand by us.
I don't think so. They'll go back into the Liberal Party and they'll be happy.
I'm prepared to bet you that won't happen. I'll bet you now that this Justin-appointed investigator will find reason. She's going to have the notes that Justin took. She will find reason to support Justin's decision. That's why he appointed her. So I don't see her as some sort of savior or call it what you like. I see her as part of Justin's damage control kind of apparatus, and she will sustain his judgment.
Well, you know, for once, Ray, I'm going to give Justin Trudeau the benefit of the doubt, and I felt like he had really no option except to have some type of recourse to these two members, given the allegations were made when we were watching headline after headline of Jian Gomeschi and Bill Cosby.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, these two NDP MPs better know what they're talking about, because to come out with that kind of allegation in such a serious time on such a serious issue, it does no favor for any other woman who has come forward, and it's I mean, look, unless we're not being told all the facts, and you know, one of them has gone on record, it doesn't sound to me.
And I think
like,
when she went on record, she said the other one who has not gone public was sustained more,
right, but that's
more
for
punishment,
her to discuss.
or more.
You don't discuss other. You
well,
know what?
She
Stick to
was
your
discussing
own deal.
someone
well,
else.
She shouldn't.
She made a big mistake.
And she's actually, you know, I think they're making light of the fact of women that actually have been victims of rape and assault.
Yeah. All right, we'll leave it there. Okay. More to come out on that. Yeah.